First of all, thank you for having me. I know on some of that paperwork it says Jerry Stout, and I'm not Jerry Stout. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He had a family emergency out of state. But I'm happy to be here. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about something that really in Homeland Security we're starting to focus on. We've been looking at it, and it's a group that has really came into focus, and it can affect a lot of individuals. It can affect a lot of departments and agencies and even businesses. And this group is called the First Amendment Auditors. Now, some of y'all probably might have heard of them. Some of you may not have. Some of you may have seen some videos of these individuals. But basically what these First Amendment auditors are, these are individuals that usually specifically like filming government, whether it's local, state, or federal facilities. They'll come in and just start filming, okay? Their movement isn't led by any particular group. It's usually, again, just an individual or two individuals or three individuals, but there's no leadership. A lot of their ideology is more of a sovereign citizen type ideology. These audits are often posted on YouTube. You can type in and it'll show up a bunch of videos where they have filmed it throughout the country. Many of these individuals are nonviolent, and the encounters are for the most part, uneventful. However, there have been some cases where it has escalated to where either them being arrested or lawsuits against said department agency have been brought with civil litigations. And now it's important to understand that while First Amendment auditors do have the same civil liberties and civil rights as any other private citizen does, they're not affiliated with any type of government organization, and their audits or so-called audits are not conducted in any official capacity. You know, recording government operation is protected speech under the First Amendment. However, this right is not an absolute, okay? Individuals can record government operations in public spaces, and that's one of the big keys, public spaces, the same as media. Now, public spaces are typically places that are accessible and open to the public, where a person has a legal right to be present, okay? Like public sidewalks, parking lots, portions of government buildings and facilities. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that the First Amendment protects the right to collect and record publicly available information, and to also publish that information in any type of medium of that person's choosing, such as YouTube, Facebook, and other social medias. But this right is governed by reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. So they just can't go in and do anything or film anywhere. Some restrictions on these individuals, they can't record them. They cannot do any type of recording if they place themselves or others in danger, if they trespass on any type of private property, or if they enter a marked restricted area. And this is something that has been very big with our higher education institutes. We've been going around doing a lot of security assessments, and this is a big statewide issue because our campuses are open. But does the administration want anybody just to be able to walk in and go wherever they want to? And so that is a discussion that is going on right now with our higher education. And of course, they cannot interfere with a business's operation. Interference must be more than just a recording itself. Even though these are very aggravating and unwanted things, they can still record. Okay, interference must be an interference would be conduct that inhabits or instructs, delays, or otherwise affects that business or that business's operation. Them having verbal criticism made by individuals or others that have no direct impact on operations or safety are not violations of the law. We have to remember that the simple act of recording by itself does not constitute interference in that business and does not justify actions as to stopping, blocking, obstructing, coercing, or even threatening that individual that's filming. Now, are these auditors dangerous? Well, for the most part, their main intent is to come in and to film public places and government officials. But they often act to provoke these individuals to try to get this negative response so that they can post it on a YouTube or some type of social media. Okay? But there is legitimate concern that some of these encounters could spiral violent situations because they have. And also that their tactics as far as videoing these facilities and individuals could be used in criminal acts later on by being able to identify various security vulnerabilities. Now, some potential indicators of these auditors, they're going to mainly use a cell phone. Why? It's easily accessible. Everybody has one or two or three of these things. Maybe a body cam, kind of like what an officer wears, or of course your handheld cameras. They may start video recording outside that facility. They may be filming your employees or you walking in, or even the vehicles to your agency. They may be entering the facility and filming while they enter. They may refuse to identify themselves when asked by law enforcement or people that are working in that facility. And they may try to refuse to answer any questions. And again, that kind of goes back to that sovereign citizen ideology. So, some recommendations on how to handle these individuals. First and foremost is to educate your staff. Make sure that they understand what these individuals are and what they are trying to accomplish, which is to get a rise out of you, to get you to violate one of their civil liberties, civil rights. And the big thing is teach them don't overreact, okay? That's the biggest thing, is don't overreact. If you stay calm and don't give them a rise, they usually leave you alone and are gone. Identify and mark non-public areas within your business and organization. And again, this goes really to what I talked about before as far as with these higher education institutes. While individuals have the right to record, that right is limited again to public spaces. The individual must have a legal right to be in that location, and that location must be accessible and open to the public. And then, of course, if there are, an individual that comes in, let everybody else know, hey, we have a First Amendment auditor in here, okay? That way, if they're confronted, they're already prepared. And a big thing is having a programmed response. Having a programmed response can definitely be helpful. And, some of these programmed responses could include, just inform the individual that he or she cannot interfere with what you are doing or what your employees are doing. And if the individual is interfering, standing too close, blocking others, things of that nature, just direct them to another space that they can stand and continue recording, okay? And if the individual persists in debating the issue, which they like to do, ask them to speak to a supervisor or tell them, hey, I'll go, get the boss. That way they can speak to the main individual. Now, some things not to do with these individuals is definitely don't tell them that they cannot take photographs or film in public areas. Okay, that's what they're wanting you to do. Don't try to take any of their equipment or block what they're filming. Don't argue with the individuals. Don't use profanity, right? You want to stay professional. Don't threaten or assault them in any way. And the big thing is, contact law enforcement if the person causes a disruption or impacts operations. Again, a person who is recording can be arrested when law enforcement has probable cause to believe that a violation of the law has been committed. But just if they're just recording and that's it, that's not enough for law enforcement to be able to do anything. We have to remember it is legal to record in a public place. Okay? And one of the big things is with Homeland Security is, if an individual does come in and you have interactions with them, we ask that you report it to either law enforcement or more specifically to the Tennessee Fusion Center. And there's websites, there's phone numbers. It's very easy to find that number, which I have it up here as well. And the reason why the Fusion Center would want to have this information is because it is a statewide intelligence gathering center. And this individual may be going around, and so that the Fusion Center can give law enforcement and other agencies a heads up that, hey, this individual may be coming in your neck of the woods. Okay? And now the other thing was about the border immigration crisis and how it may be affecting us here in Tennessee. Does it affect us here in Tennessee? The short answer to that is yes. We are affected by all of the immigrants that are coming over. How? Very simply, there's an influx of drugs. There's influxes of, with drugs comes guns. Okay? Most of these individuals are good people, but there's also a lot of gang members, MS-13, drug cartel individuals. There's increases in sex slave rings, things of that nature with all of this immigration that does affect us here, even in East Tennessee. So I guess I'll open it up to questions. Any questions? Yes, sir.